Welcome to Iowa Pagan News, your informative internet radio station catering to all pagans worldwide. We are dedicated to bringing you the very best in music, news, events, and lots of fun stuff. Come tune in to our new podcast at www.plrdn.podbean.com. Now, here is your host, Lou Silverwolf Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Iowa Pagan News on the Prairie Land Radio Network for Pagan Artist Spotlight. Now, this afternoon, I have scheduled Jason Mankey, who is the author of The Witch's Book of Spellcraft. Now, this is a very detailed book and something that would be a good addition to anybody's library. And I've been leafing through it. It's very well written. Jason is a really good author. He's actually married to also to a author in the pagan community as well. She has, let's see, he's also said on his profile, give me just a second here. And let's see. His wife's name is Ari, Shepherd of Cats, best-selling witchcraft author, pagan blog whisperer. So he's also married to a pagan author who I'm going to be kind of excited to have on the show as well. Now, Jason's having just a tad bit of technical issues trying to get his cam and mic working. So we're going to wait and see if he's going to be trying to log back in or not. And we will go from there. If we're not able to connect up this afternoon, what I'm going to do, due to technical difficulties, we'll just go ahead and reschedule for another day. And that way we can have the discussion with Jason. Now, I have also been tuning into Llewellyn Con, starting yesterday, or was it? Let's see. This is what, Wednesday? Yeah, I lost track of my days. Starting back on Monday, Llewellyn Con has been doing a online deal featuring. It can be over the next 10 days, and they are featuring 40 authors in the pagan community. And so far, they have been doing a really good job with it. And I've already connected up with 2 brand new authors from just Llewellyn Con, who I'm going to be featuring here on the podcast in the near future. So stay tuned for details. The really good part about being hooked up with Llewellyn is I've got a good contact up at the Minneapolis office who is taking care and making sure that I've got the books for each and every author who I am going to be featuring on the show. Now, let's see. Jason, I still don't see you yet, and I'm not hearing you. If you can at least hear me, I've already given people the opportunity to check out your book, and the fact that they can find it on Llewellyn and most likely other sources as well. All you have to do is look for The Witch's Book of Spellcraft online. It'll point you in the right direction where you can get it. And like I said, this also features his wife, Ari Mankey, Amanda Lynn, and Matt Cavalli. And like I said, I have been leafing through this book, and he's got a bunch of great information in this. So be sure to check it out. Like I said, it's a good addition for any library, for somebody who's beginning in even the seasoned pagan witch. Let's see. Now, he does have a disclaimer in the book. This book is not intended to provide medical advice or to take the place of medical advice and treatment from your personal physician. So so uh, anything that you see in this book uh, is strictly for amateur or homemade use, but it's not to be uh, the place to be taken in the place of medical advice or treatment from your personal physician. Readers are advised to consult their doctors or other qualified healthcare professionals regarding the treatment of their medical problems. So neither the publisher nor the author take any responsibility for any possible consequences from a treatment, action, or application of medicine, supplement, herb, or preparation to any person reading or following the information in this book. So I
That's
want to make sure I read that to people.
that is
Um,
that's all
but
Llewellyn.
yeah, Jason's got a lot of great information in this book. Um, herb and plant magic, spells by candlelight, candle magic, spells by moon and will. Uh, it's just it's just a really good book to have in your library. So I definitely recommend it. Ah, there you are, Jason.
Yeah,
I see you now. Can you? There we go.
yeah.
Perfect. Excellent.
I I
So
I read I heard you read the disclaimer, and I feel like I should let everyone know Llewellyn adds those things to all of our books. They're really big on that, and if you write a spell for them and you forget to say blow out the candle, they'll go, "You need to add blow out the candle to the spell or everyone's going to burn their house down." So, that's how they work.
yep, Llewellyn covers all their bases.
I guess they're worried about being sued. I don't know, but yeah, they're they do. They have a lot of worries.
Cool. Okay, so how long have you been on your path?
I have been doing this since 1994, so it's been quite a while. I was 21 when I discovered the craft. I'd kind of heard about it before. I read my first witchcraft book in the 7th grade, but it wasn't till I was 21 that I really embraced it and started walking that way. And I've been here ever since.
Excellent. And now you are also seems like your wife is also a author as well.
My wife is an idea person.
Aha.
So
I,
she's kind of funny about having her name on stuff. She's really good at putting together spells, but she doesn't sit down and like write them. I watch her do them and then I write notes and then I write it down for us. But she's a part of everything that I do. Her ideas are all over all of my work, really. I mean, she's my partner in everything. She's more than just my magical partner and more than just my wife. She's like this
mm,
whole big encompassing thing in my life all the time.
nice. It's nice to have someone like that. You both work together to create what you're doing together, and yeah, it's refreshing to see that.
I'm very blessed. I'm very lucky. Or I'm an extremely good witch. I don't know. It's one of those things.
Cool. So now, let's see. Is this your main book, or have you written others?
That is book number 8, actually.
Ah, okay.
So there's lots of books. Last year there was the Horned God of the Witches that came out. Before that, the little Llewellyn's Little Book of Yule, the Witch's Wheel of the Year, Transformative Witchcraft, the Witch's Altar, which I co-wrote with Laura Tempest Zakroff, the Witch's Athame, and the Witch's Book of Shadows. So there's been a lot, and book number 9, Modern Witchcraft with the Greek Gods, that I co-wrote with Estrella Taylor, comes out in December. So it's lots of books, lots of things.
Okay. So I need to get on Marcus, and he's he needs to catch up a little bit on what he needs to send me.
Yeah, I think the Horned God book might be my best book. That's the one people probably talk about the most. But this book has gotten very good reviews so far, and usually, people. There's always people who hate your work, no matter what you do, and those are the reviews I tend to remember the most. And I haven't had any bad reviews this time around, which is really nice.
Well, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now, so what was your upbringing like?
I wouldn't say that my family was particularly religious, though we did go to Methodist church, but I was pretty religious. I was president of my Methodist church youth group growing up. I gave a Sunday sermon once at Easter. I was pretty religious, but I was also kind of questioning the whole time. It never made sense to me if there was one true path, why there were a bunch of different religions. I'd always been interested in unexplained things, whether that was witches or vampires or werewolves or UFOs or Bigfoot and the Loch Ness monster. I loved information, and my father was very, very encouraging of all that. He was like, you can here read this, it's fine if you want to read that. He never got in the way of anything. My dad was really good, didn't have great relationships with mothers. My mom left me when I was pretty young. My stepmother and I never quite got along, but it was mostly good. I think it really prepared me in a lot of ways for where I am today.
Excellent. And I want to say good afternoon. Welcome to Patsy, my good friend, who is a regular follower here at Iowa Pagan News. And she already wants to know where she can buy your book.
You can pretty much buy them anywhere. Like they should be at your local witch shop if you have one. And if they're not, you can ask for them to order it. I mean, of course, you can get it through Amazon or through Llewellyn. That's one of the nice things about Llewellyn books. They are pretty much anywhere. It's really strange if you Google your name and you see your books at Walmart.com or Target.com because they have it at those places too. So they're pretty easy to get.
Excellent. Now, let's get into it here. Now, so basically, I mean, you get into the philosophies and the ethics behind everything and creating your magical space, the visualization. Yeah, so what was the inspiration for this book?
I always like to write books that answer questions I had when I was starting out. So I went into this book with the idea of what makes stone and crystal magic different than candle magic. Does that energy work differently? And if it does, can I explain that in a way? And so that's sort of the idea behind the book. And then each sort of magical discipline builds upon the other things that were written about. So, it sort of starts with creative visualization and doing some sigil work, and then candles, and then crystals, and then herbs. I was just in the shower one morning and I was thinking about magic and how I would put together a book. And when I jumped out, I immediately ran to my computer and started writing out sort of the chapters that you see before you. It didn't really change very much once I started writing it. I did think to myself, though, while I was putting the chapters together in my on my little outline, that I was going to need help writing the book because I'm not really very good at writing spells. So I thought about some of my friends who are really good at it, and I talked to Matt first. I sent him a message, and he was like, "Oh, I would love to help you." And then he's like, "You should ask Ari, and we should ask Amanda." And they're all people who are in our coven with Ari and I, Matt and Amanda. So it was really great to work with them and to have their ideas. I mean, I wrote most of the book, but I used everybody's ideas in the book, and we'd spend time talking to each other and writing notes down. And then from there, I kind of put it into written form. But that's the genesis of the book.
Well, to say, yeah, because I've noticed that, it's collaboration with Matt Cavalli, Amanda Lynn, and your wife Ari. So, I mean, it's good that you can collaborate like that to put together a book like this. Now, the one thing that I really like the most is you're talking about your will, personal power, and earth and sky, and the way that I was taking it was that it's going back to it's going back to the first rule of know thyself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you can do effective magic unless you know what you truly want. Sometimes we say we want a new job or something, and maybe we don't want a new job. Maybe we just want our current job to treat us a little bit better, or that kind of thing, or we want to raise. We have to know ourselves really to work effective magic. And
Mhm.
sometimes what our conscious mind says is not really what we want. So, you have to spend some time really working on figuring out what it is that you truly desire.
Mhm. Exactly. Now, on your main website, the panmankey.com, uh, is there a link for your is there links for your books there?
Probably not. If you just Google Jason Mankey, like I think Amazon comes up pretty quickly, Llewellyn comes up pretty quickly. I think there are only two other people in the United States with my name. One of them sells insurance, and the other's a Christian minister. So it's hard to get us confused.
Okay. All right. Well, basically, what we'll do, because Patsy was asking if there's a link for the book. So, Patsy, I will post that up here momentarily, and I'll get you a link for the book so that you'll be able to get that. It's like you said, this is a this would be a welcome addition to anybody's library for sure. Um, and like you say, you've got this chock full of good information. And um, here's a good one that I kind of got a chuckle out of: Matt's Van oil.
Yeah, Van oil is a type of oil that's used in conjure traditions. So you see it a lot amongst African American communities and things. And Matt studied conjure for a while, so he really sort of knows the ins and outs of it. And it's like
Hmm.
an all around very very useful oil. It's a blend of oil. It kind of smells like pine saw, like cleaning oil, like something you would clean with. So
Hmm.
it's really good at getting rid of negativity in that sense. It's really great. We always keep some in our ritual room.
Let's see, it's really nice that you've got a detailed list here of essential oils and incense to be able to use in your spell work or magical work. Um, you've got a bunch of different spells in here. And let's see, it looks like you also uh, do have a little bit of explanation to stones and crystals, because I know there's a lot of people that have interest in that.
One of the things about working with a lot of different people on the book was everybody's really good at different things. So Matt's really good with herbs and Ari's really good with stones and crystals. I'm kind of colorblind, so I'm not particularly good with stones because you have to be able to see what color they are sometimes. Yeah. So I'm really lucky that I have Ari to do that with. We wrote the book during COVID, kind of at the height of people not being close to each other and maintaining distance and not having people inside of your house. So every once in a while, I would go out with one of my co-authors and I would just ask them questions and take notes. We would sit somewhere like 6 feet apart. And I remember the day, like I went out with Ari. I said, "Okay, Ari, we need to go out, and you can have a gin and tonic, and I'm gonna have a hard cider, and we're gonna sit and talk about stones and crystals. And I'm gonna give you a list of the ones that are the most common, and then you tell me what you feel about them and kind of how you use them in magical work." And I'm really blessed that I have a wife who can do that. She doesn't flip through books or anything. She's just like, I know what this does. And that's a really great talent to have. So I'm really blessed to have her.
Oh yeah, it helps that you've got the person there with you who essentially does the visualization and actually does it, uh, to be able to show people just or show you how it's done.
I always feel like it's impossible to know everything, right? I mean, as try as we might, sometimes it's impossible to know everything. So surrounding yourself with people who know about the things that you don't is a really wise way to go.
Hmm.
And that's how I was able to write this book.
Now, I believe I have ran across Amanda Lynn before. Um, what books has she written books herself?
Amanda has not. So Amanda is in, I think, this year's. Well, no, she's. I don't think she's been in anything before.
Okay.
She's a really talented writer though. So Amanda, a lot of the things that she gave me, like she gave me some complete spells in a few spaces, and I didn't really have to make much in the way of additions or changes to them. She's a really strong writer. We wrote 25 spells that will be in Llewellyn's Spell a Day Almanac for 2023, which I think comes out really next month. It usually comes out in July or August or something like that. So that's a credit for her, and we're going to do it again for next year too. But she's a really talented writer, like really great at putting together spells. I'm hoping that this will inspire her to write books by herself, because I really think that she's capable of doing that.
Hmm. Well, and the other thing that I've not really seen other people really write about is, and you've got the chapter in here, creative visualization in magic. And there's, like you said, there's not a lot of people who I have seen with their books that have gone into that much detail.
One of the most influential books that I read when I was starting out wasn't a witch book at all. It was called Creative Visualization by a writer named Shakti Gawain.
Hmm.
It's a new age book, but the idea of seeing what you want and putting it all in perspective, I found really useful. To me, that's kind of one of the building blocks of magic, is seeing what you want and then going from there, visualizing what it is that you want your magic to do. So I really wanted to spend some time with that pretty early on.
Nice. And how long did it take to put together this book?
Wow. They all run together so much. It can be really hard to figure out. Mostly wrote it over the summer of 2020. That was when most of it was written. That was, yeah, I think that's about right. I probably turned it in. Yeah, I think that's got to be right. Summer of 2020, maybe, and then after that, with the way that Llewellyn works is you write your book and you deliver it to them, and then a few weeks later they give you a long list of things they would like you to add to the book or subtract to the book or change.
Mhm.
So we spent 3 or 4 months working on the book, and then I got that list, and then I spent another month sort of polishing that and putting things together. So it probably took 5 months altogether. My books are always very long. So sometimes Llewellyn is like, can you cut 10,000 words? And for that particular book, I did cut 10,000 words, and then I added 10,000 more. So
Oh,
it really never got any shorter.
wow. Well, as I say, is this book here, uh, it's just about as big as the other one that I've got that I always reference to, which is, and it's a very familiar book, what I call the Big Green Book. Uh, it's called Paganism, by Joyce and River Higginbotham.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this one's just about as big as that one.
So for me, like, the book sort of serves two purposes, which is kind of why it's big. It's, how magic works, but it's
Mhm.
also a book of spells. There's 100 different spells in there, most of them by the four of us, but we have a bunch of other writers who contributed spells to the book. Madame Pamita, who wrote a really amazing book about candle magic, she has some magical work in there. Lil Dorsey, who's written some really fabulous books, she has a little spell in there. Stray Taylor has a spell in there. So we have a lot of our friends helping out too, which made the book even bigger than it already was.
Excellent. And so basically, now, according to what you also go into what magic can and can't be.
Yeah, I mean, I think people have sometimes unrealistic expectations of what can be done. I'm not sure that magic can cure cancer, though I think it can help alleviate suffering from cancer. I
Mhm.
think it can give people energy to fight their own diseases, but I mean, I don't think that doing a spell in my ritual room is necessarily going to cure something like immediately right off the bat. So, I think it's important to know what magic can or can't do. And you have to follow magic up with action on the mundane plane too. You can't just do a job spell and then never go look for a job, right? I mean, there's actions that you have to do to follow up on what you want. A couple of years ago, our coven did a job spell, and I kind of write about this at the beginning of the book. There were several of us who were not happy where we were in life, and like we all got together and we did this really great spell. And all of a sudden, Matt started managing a witch store. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from Llewellyn saying, "Will you write a book for us?" Ari got promoted at work. Amanda got a new job. But we were also doing the things that allowed for that sort of stuff to happen, right? I mean, Ari was really good at her job. So, of course, she was going to get promoted. Matt went and applied for a job, and he really knows what he's talking about when he's doing magic. So, it made sense for them to hire him. And I had been writing and talking online for a couple of years, so I had a body of work that could be looked at. And Amanda was has a college degree and was actively looking for a job. So, we were following up our magic with real world, stuff. And the two have to work hand in hand.
So are all of you within close proximity with each other to be able to collaborate like this?
Right now, yes, we are. We've been in covens together for 10 years now. We live within 10 or 12 miles of each other. But Amanda is moving across the country away from us at the end of the month. So, our time together was didn't last as long as we might have liked, though I'm really happy that, she helped us with this book.
Well, at least you'll be able to stay in touch with FaceTime and voice chats, whatnot. So at least you'll be able to keep collaborating that way.
Absolutely. The world is a lot smaller now than it used to be. That's for sure.
Yeah, it seems like that, especially all during the pandemic. Everything went online. Everybody was meeting virtually, and that's the way we were having to do things. It's going to be our new normal for some time until we can actually start getting back together again.
Yeah, it's been sort of a strange summer because, there have been a couple of events in person this year. I went to Minneapolis in March to an event called Paganicon, which was fun.
Yep.
And I was in Tennessee for Pagan Unity Festival just a couple of weeks ago. So, there are some things that are happening, but it all seems really tentative. Not everything's opened back up. And we're really still in the middle of the pandemic as much as people think that we're not. More cases now than ever. It's just less likely to kill you now, which is good. But, you always take a chance when you go somewhere.
Right. Yep. I'm very well familiar with Paganicon because I've gone to that one several times. Because I was actually based up in the Minneapolis, St. Cloud area for several years before coming back home here to Iowa. So I'm very well familiar with that one. And I know that a lot of them are taking place. There are still a few that are not going to be taking place this year. So, yeah.
I got to actually go to Iowa last October, which was really fun. I was in Cedar Rapids at a bookstore called Illuminations, and I did a weekend of workshops and 2 Samhain rituals. So that was really fun. I used to live in the Midwest. I live in California now, but I used to live in the Midwest for a long time. So it's always great to go back to that part of the country.
Yep. I'm very well familiar with Illuminations. I'm right north of Cedar Rapids. I know the owner quite well and know the staff down there. They do a fantastic job.
It's a beautiful store. It's probably like the prettiest witchcraft store I've ever been in. It's just really, really impressive.
Yep, they've got one of the bigger ones compared to. Well, let's see. There's also we only used to have like 2 in Des Moines, but now we've got like 4 or 5 that's opened up And yeah, there's been a numerous amount of new ones opening up. We've got one a big one over in Ames, which is college area, and they just opened up a second store down in Florida.
Oh wow, that we're in the middle of a witchcraft moment right now. Witches are pretty hot. Like there's this renewed interest, and more books are
Mhm.
selling probably than ever before. Social media has been really kind of playing into that, but it's really exciting kind of to see it. To have all of these resources available all of a sudden when for so long it was hard to find anything.
Right, I know. It seems like everything has kind of blown up just this year from what I've been seeing as of late. Now, are you scheduled to be on Llewellyn Con?
I did not make the cut of Llewellyn Con.
Uh-oh.
I've done the last 3 of them, and they always have more authors than spots. And for whatever reason, this year I did not get a spot, so I don't have to do any pre-work for them. So that may be good. I don't know. I have a lot of friends who are speaking at Llewellyn Con.
Yep. Well, there's been I've already got like 2 or 3 that I've talked to so far. I've got some more scheduled. Now, we're going to take a quick station break for our sponsors, and we're going to be right back right after these words. So don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back right after this.
I just walked into this coffee shop. You'll never guess what I found. All the help is deeply engrossed in metaphysical times. You should too. I'm at the Egyptian, 475 Park Avenue in Idaho Falls, Idaho. You get your very own coffee for free, and we're open till 10.
Sister Moon Apothecary and More is a collaboration of local island witches bringing you handcrafted tools for ritual, amazing apothecary, custom vinyl work, merchandise, and so much more. But we are not just an online store. We are a sisterhood, a platform, and a voice for everything that is magical. Join us for our famous Tarot Tuesdays from 11 to 4 Eastern Standard Time for a discounted reading with our amazing in-house intuitive reader and priestess, Wolf Spirit Energy, Beverly Oberlin. You can find us on Facebook at Sister Moon Store or on the web at sistermoon.shop. So fly on over and stop in for a spell.
Light on the Prairie Land Radio Network and the Podbean Podcast Network.
All right, we are back with Jason Mankey and his book, The Witch's Book of Spellcraft. Now, normally we would be running about an hour, but I just got informed that we have severe weather coming right at us. We've all basically there's already notices for tornadoes coming at us. So I'm going to be checking into things over here and making sure that things are going to stay in one piece.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to at least finish up. Now, I've already got your Amazon link up for your book. And then, like you said, you can also find it through Llewellyn. And do you have any other shows that you're scheduled for this year?
I'm headed to Mystic South in July, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. That's a ways away from you all. That's, I think, the biggest one. I might do something at Circle Sanctuary at Lammas. That's been talked about, but I'm not sure yet. So
Okay.
we'll see. As I said, it's kind of a slow year because things have opened up, but they haven't quite opened up all the way. So, yeah, not as busy as some other summers that I've had.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, when you're, if you do go over to Circle Sanctuary, tell Selena hi from me.
Absolutely.
She and I are good friends. And the other one that just canceled out for this year, which kind kind of surprised me. It was going to be Voodoo Fest down in New Orleans.
Oh, really? That's a
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah, they just recently put that out that they canceled for this year. And I don't know if it's going to affect Hex Fest or not. So I'm still waiting to hear from those folks.
Oh, I'm sure Hex Fest will happen. They went last year too, so I'm gonna say they're full steam ahead. So
Cool. Well, I definitely want to thank you for taking time out with me this afternoon. And now that we get past the technical issues and whatnot, but I'm going to tell everybody again, be sure to pick up your book, Witch's Book of Spellcraft. And that's going to, like you say, it's a great book to have. And I'm glad that you wrote it. And I'm really happy that it got sent to me, because it always makes me happy to see new books being written.
I'll pass that to Marcus for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, because I've been in contact with him pretty much all day today too. So the other book that basically I think is got everybody beat right now. I don't know if you know Oberon Zell.
Of course, I know Oberon.
He just released his big manuscript. He just released his phone book.
Is that the expanded version of his biography?
Yes.
Yeah, I have the original one. So I'll probably have to pick up the second too. I'm sure I'll run into Oz one of these days on the road.
Oh yeah, I just had a phone call with him just a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Yep, the book is out finally." So I'm going to be looking for that one, and I'll have to get that one as well. All right. So anyway, we're going to be heading off, and I'm going to be paying attention to the weather as it develops around here. So anybody else who's here in the Midwest, be sure to take cover. If you're up in the eastern Iowa area, be sure to keep an eye on the weather. Stay tuned to weather announcements, and we will be talking to everyone later on. Thank you, Jason, for joining us. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Earl, for having me. Batten down the hatches and be safe.
All right. Will do, brother. This has been another edition of Iowa Pagan News on the Prairie Land Radio Network. Appreciate everyone tuning in. And thanks for Patsy for joining us as well. And we will be seeing everyone again tomorrow. I've got another great interview coming up. So be sure to stick around for that. That is the Werewolf Book on Magic. So have a great day, everyone. We're going to be out of here for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, stay safe, and we will see everybody again later on. Pleasant journeys.
Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. All shows are recorded and available for download at plrdn.podbean.com. All rights are reserved and may not be replayed without written permission by IAPN Radio Management. Come join us at our new group, IAPN Radio on Facebook, where you can be kept up to date for future broadcasts. Pleasant journeys, everyone.